Hi, welcome to She is the Boss podcast. I am Kelly Boss sharing my life story for your life story. And today I have my daughter Danielle here with me today. And no, this was very impromptu. She just happened to be done with a client earlier today, so I didn't expect her around at all. So I snagged her in here while she still had a plate full of lunch to come in and chop it up with me because I was chopping it up by myself when she walked in. So I said, let's put the cameras on and let's get to this. So I'm trying to turn this into a therapy session because we had a lot to talk about. So we're just going to stick in one vein, hopefully. So I had to write this email to a person. Okay. It was frustrating because I do have respect that we come from different generations, okay, and different backgrounds and education levels and experiences or whatever. Okay. I understand that. But you ain't going to take me down to third grade level with you to try to explain something. So I was quite frustrated about this email because I felt like I was working too hard and it's not a job. I'm doing something at volunteer. So I had asked Danielle to help me with this email, and she was able to rattle this email out in a different way. But I want to say different because it was probably more what this woman could understand because that's the type of people she work around all day. I'm sorry. Ooh, Where I'm not. That's not what mm. So I was frustrated about it and I was aggravated about it. But let me just double back what I was really aggravated about. Okay, so I sit on this board, okay, and I've been on the wait, we're not there. So I'm trying how you want me to do this? Because I'm trying to tell the story so it makes sense to people.
Okay, just don't mention names.
I'm not.
The last video.
Well, things happen. And so I sit on this board and I sit on a few boards,
I
okay?
should
So
have
it's not
came in
just
when you were ready.
uh, am I taking too long to get to this? What would you want? Just jump in and go,
I just feel like people watching me just sit here on this camera. Why you even care?
you know what they got to do is
I
like
should
she
have came
she
in.
takes too long, swipe. I mean, that's what swipe. This ain't funny. Swipe, or that's too serious. Swipe. I don't even like her dress. Swipe. That swipe. Damn it. I'm trying. Everything is instant gratification on social media. And it took me a long time to realize that. Someone else taught me that. Everything's instant gratification. People can sew a gown in 20 seconds. People can make a cake and a Thanksgiving turkey in 15 seconds. And then they get that crap home with them and they pissed off because it don't work like that. That's instant gratification. So I don't know what to tell you. Didn't I say this is my life story for your life story? So I can't speed this up. So sit on this board and I feel like the people that this I've been on it for a long time. And but I
Your
feel like
mother's calling
and I feel like the people I feel like the people on here and I care about them a lot. Really wonderful individual, but their dedication or their time management sucks. And so it leaves me to feel like I am doing all the work. And I am doing all the work. And everybody knows I'm doing all the work. Everyone does. But I'm tired of doing all the work. I'm absolutely tired of doing all the work. Right. So then I wanted to sit down. I'm like, bump this. I'm gonna run this out to the end of the year and I'm out of here. I'm done. But then, the inside of me was like, that's wrong. You shouldn't give up your post. Right. You shouldn't just stop just because you got an attitude. So long story short, I don't know. You can finish because I lost my train of thought now. Because this story got me so flustered because there's two components to it. The broad over here talking about a gift card, and it's just all jumbled up in my head right now. What? That was wrong too.
you.
That's not what happened.
Finish your podcast. I didn't even have a chance to chime in anywhere because you're doing this whole intro.
The intro over.
Her real problem is she was writing back to somebody's email. And this lady thought she was going to write an email to her and check her or question her. And then she didn't understand, basically. Not her, but the lady. She didn't understand the email. So I said, well, why don't you just write her back and then clarify? And then she was like, well, I need clarification. And I was like, this lady's a dingbat. So then I had told mom how to write it. But I like to write emails that tell people off because when they're wrong, you're wrong. And then you have to use a little highlighted markers, some little bolds, some parentheses, drag an arrow back to the top. And then after all of that, it goes, oh, I understand. But you go, what did you understand from the first like three sentences in the paragraph that said, can you do X, Y, and Z by this date and that time? And then all you have to do is say, okay, I understand. But instead it was, I need some clarification. And then, well, so you're saying it's your fault. And you were like, no, it's not my fault, and you can't count. So let me show you. And we had to break it down and say, well, 2 plus 2 equals 4.
I
And then
used the highlighter since I was
then I
in
had
school.
to highlight the 4 that said it was a total. It wasn't really 4, it was a couple of dollars. And then you turn around and say, well, minus this for so and so's winning. And then parentheses, yes, I went over budget, but you know, this is business and the people were happy. And then after all of that, it was like, oh, okay, well, I understand. But who had to write this much for you to understand? And the first email was 3 sentences, which means she didn't know what she was talking about. And people in the world just always be like, I got this. And then in the bottom of your email, it says you wrote it from your cell phone. So that means you driving or you drinking a cup of coffee, you responded, you never sat down to even read it to understand. And then you go, I need some clarification. What did you get? And I usually tell, like, all jokes aside, I tell my kid's father, I'd be like, I wrote it in plain English. I don't know what you don't understand.
Well, you know,
Then he looks at me with attitude, but I don't understand. People in the world
I think
just
this
be
her
like,
podcast now. So,
did
not
that sometimes.
did we say don't bring nobody's names in? The first person that came in was her child's father. Nope, that wasn't me.
Anybody who knows him knows he's a great person. But anyway.
The first rule was because you did it before, don't do it. And the first person to do
Because
it.
if he sees it, he's going to know the joke.
So, anywho.
Anybody else be like, okay, but people in the world be so quick to respond and they didn't read to comprehend anymore. Like, isn't that what you learn in school? You're supposed to read to comprehend. Sorry. Supposed to read to comprehend. Nobody does that in this world. The people I work with don't do that. And nothing drives me nuts when somebody thinks they're going to, like, tell you something. But you're like, if you're going to tell me something or tell me off, whatever the junk people say, then be right.
You could just water, but I wish.
Everybody think they right when they wake up.
Okay, so now, well, let's go back to what she just said. That she said that you can tell she clearly checked from her cell phone. Now we're going to talk about some things of generations and things that changed. When I came up, and it wasn't I ain't that old. Cell phones were meant what they were meant for.
Well, you didn't have email from your
Hello, right? But that's okay because I'm gonna show you where the difference is. Hello was for this, and when I came up, cell phones were meant for a whole other purpose. 2 purposes really. Either you were on Wall Street or you were on the hood street doing what you do. Right? That was what they were for. They were not getting, oh, I won, and so that's what they were for. And then you're right. We didn't have the checking email and stuff, but that's what the whole key is. You had to sit your behind down, read it, process it, think about it, walk away from it, come back again, maybe send it to Shirley and be like, can you read this and see what you thought and have a think. Not full of emotions like,
I don't even think it's that. I think it's that, but I also think, because I write emails for my phone, but I think it's the person and how you were raised and some comprehending portion of it. Like, you could still write an email from your phone and respond. People do all that. But there's people that write like they text, and you be like, this is an email and that is a text message. You're a business person and you're a business person. We're talking about the same common things. I need you to write me correctly. We're not talking like we're friends down the street.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with how you're being raised. It does have to do with how you were taught in whatever environment you were in. But you do need to read with comprehension. I agree with that. Now, they've been teaching that in school since, see spot run. It's like, you have to read with comprehension and not so much emotion, right? And so the point is that this email should have never been this long. When I started the first email that said, Jane won this, Paul won that, Jack won this, Mary won that. Here's your total. This is what we started with. This is what we're over. I don't know. That was real simple. 2 plus 2 to me. No, she kept saying, well, I'm not understanding and you're not showing me. Showing you what? So then when she had to come in, and then it went like this. We played the first round. It was an X. So-and-so won. We played the second round, so-and-so won, and it happened to be her birthday. I mean, then I had to break this down. So I had something this big that now was this big. Same thing, same total, same overage, same what you need to pay. And she goes, oh. I'm not sure if it's because she was checked and she had to say, oh, or she just was it what the heck? And so it's and then so the point of saying all of this is like this is what, and I can only speak for me because every generation is different. So I'm like, this is what I got to work with. I ain't got I don't have time for that. And you can't get no attitude or be pissed off because you're not comprehending what the other person is saying, especially if the other person is a very good communicator and they know how they know that they can communicate with anybody on any level. That's a skill, not everybody can have it. But I am talking to you like I'm talking, honey. That's 2 plus 2. Get the beads. Yep, T 2 and plus that's 4. I know I'm speaking to you like that. I know that I am. But I think so busy, like Dion was saying, you're so quick to respond, or you're so quick to have a clap back, or you're so quick to, and then you still are wrong, and then you still don't even say afterwards, "Oh yeah, I see it." None of that. She proceeds to say, like pointing the finger back, like, "Oh, so you went over in the bingo game, and you and you and you," and I was like, "But I ain't no employee here. I can do whatever. You the employee. I ain't the employee here. I'm just having a fun event." But you were so busy, she's so busy just passing blame, passing blame. Give me the multi-billion-dollar company. Give me the $250 and cut it out. And not to me. I didn't win bingo. Give it to the people that won the bingo. They had to wait a month and a half. We had a $700 bingo, $600 bingo pot.
Okay, just the event.
Okay, the bra see it or not. $700 bingo pot because
You know what drives me crazy? Let's veer this back.
Get the kids up. We're trying not to wake these kids
Let's
up.
veer this back. When somebody writes an email and they're wrong, and then you want to highlight something, that drives me nuts. I can't stand when somebody highlights something because it almost comes off like, did you not understand? It's right here. So when I do it back, I just make sure we write it like in big long sentences, but like in plain words. And then you highlight and be like, so what don't you understand? But the difference is when I highlight, I make sure I'm totally correct before I do it. But people always be like, I'm gonna tell this person something, or I ain't understand it. And the last thing I'm gonna do is go, I don't understand what you're talking about. No, I'm gonna read it 12 times. I'm gonna go back to the last emails.
I'm not gonna tell you.
And then if I don't get it, I'm gonna be like, so I ain't understand what you're saying because what you just wrote made no sense.
Yeah, one thing I'm not going to say is I don't understand what you're saying. Because even if I don't understand what you're saying, I'm going to go to someone else to help me maybe understand. Because maybe I'm not clear in mind right now. Maybe the way you write is, I don't know. But like, can you just make sense to you?
No, people can't write anymore.
No. But even if that is the case, I didn't. I add another email. I said, "Can you read this? You tell me." The same person trying to add. I said, "Can you read this and just tell me how this plus this equals $1,000? I just need you to tell me that because I'm over here like, man, it's 5. And I'm calculating, and I still don't see it, and it didn't. But before I wrote back and said, I don't understand what you're talking about, I had someone else check it. So let's stick to the whole point of this podcast, sharing my life story, done for your life story. I think we're tapping on that is no matter what, this is some of the fundamentals I personally think that what I got and people in my age group got when we were working was on the job training, not just about the job, but how to be successful in the job, in the career, right? Now it's just like, well, you feel, and I'm okay, I'm not gonna say this is my opinion. This is what people who I've asked questions of, why you hired him? And they said, well, Kelly, to be honest with you, this is what the market gave us. This as good as it's getting, girl. And I was like, what? Like, I really, I
Which
was
sounds
shocked.
so bad.
That
because
is bad.
It sounds like you ain't got no pickings in this world. Like, the generation has changed of, like, working people who really appreciated their job down from McDonald's to corporate America. Yeah. And then now everybody just works the same way. It don't matter what position you're in. I work salary. I don't work extra hours than my salary. And then it's like, oh, you don't pay me enough. And then you go, but did you come to work and make yourself valuable? And then also, too, that comes down to ethics as well. Because let me talk about ethics, mine.
I ain't getting up out the bed to do nothing that I'm not gonna put my best foot forward. I ain't doing it. I ain't getting up to do nothing if I'm not gonna put my best foot forward. That's how much I value my time. So I've always said to people, you got up, got dressed, made food, cooked, and put the kids in school. You did all of that to come here to be miserable. You should have stayed home. That was silly. You was silly. I wouldn't have done all that. I feel like hell. What are we saying? Let's figure out something else. So it's like those are like ethics. So you go to someone and you say, "Excuse me, do you know where something such and is?" Nah. You work here 8 hours a day. What the hell you mean you don't know what something is in this damn store? Like,
No, you know what drives me nuts? Who was it? It's like some stores that have the little app, and if I asked you where the paint aisle is, or where no, you can't give me the paint. Something like where is such and such screws. I do not want you to pull out your phone and go to the
the same
website
app that I can go to.
Like, let's just say it's Home Depot. I don't want you to go on HomeDepot.com on your cell phone
And now
then
I'm
go
looking at
into
your
aisle
phone too, and
A14.
I'm looking at you scrolling. I'm like, that's
I
the
can
app.
do the same thing.
I was just looking
Which means
quickly.
you didn't read your protocols, you didn't read your book, you didn't study any material, or maybe they just didn't give it to you. So then that was what we was talking about somebody else who's like a manager someplace, and then we go, well,
That make $2 more than you these days.
who's
But
the
anyways, go ahead.
problem? The employee or the manager who didn't train the person?
Well, they
that came
always
in?
say it's
Or is it the company who don't have these regulations anymore? Like, let
It's
me show you how to bag a grocery nowadays. Instead, you're putting my bread with the milk and the eggs and everything else, and you go, well, it's squished.
well because it does always start with the management, and that's why they the first ones to go too. That's why because they will push it off that way. But
And then somebody else will go, what is what we got to pick from?
and so what that's what they said to me. They said, and these are people on a corporate level now. Okay, this was not management. These were owners and people, and they were like, "Oh, Kelly, this is kind of what this is what the market's bearing now. This is what we got, and that was our best. That was your best. Oh my God!" And so, that's troubling. And so now we say, okay, that's the best. So now we wonder where's that breakdown. So I never forget one time when I had a school, and I would be frustrated because the staff they weren't cleaning up the right way. And I was younger then now. So then my grandmother would say to me, "But Kelly, you never taught them how to clean." I'm like, "What the hell am I teach them how to clean for?" They stuff. She was like, "No, Kelly, they know how to clean how they know how to clean. You have to show them how you want it cleaned, how you want it clean." So then there was a friend of mine who has a business, and I never forget, he ordered like 4 different mops and 4 different buckets. And each one was a different color because he had taught his cleaners, "I want this yellow mop to be the first wash. This mop is the second wash." And then he had to color code it because he didn't want the first mop to be done on the third. He wanted the mops a certain way. People thought like, "Oh my goodness, he's so anal, all this." No, it was nasty. He didn't want the dirt mop in the dirt, the clean mop, and he wanted it clean. He wanted it for clean. He
Has
wanted to
anybody
see
ever thought about
clean.
mopping? That's a real good topic. When you're mopping, not trying to be funny, because
No,
somebody wouldn't understand because they'd be like, what is she talking about with color? When you're mopping, you got to go backwards.
No. Okay, go ahead.
When you're mopping the floor. People always think you're just mopping. No, the first wash is really just getting the dirt and moistening the dirt. Your floor shouldn't be that dirty though.
But it can be at the traffic areas.
And
Yes,
then
it
you
can.
mop it. And then you're supposed to go dump that water and wring out that mop if you got like a spin mop like us. And you wring out the mop and start over. And now you go use your little pine saw, your organic whatever, and now you're cleaning the floor. But then in his case, he was doing the same thing. But his third mop was like, okay, so we washed it, we cleaned it, and then now we're gonna disinfect it. But if you're gonna use bleach right off the rip in the beginning, well, all you did was mix your bleach with the dirt, and you really didn't get it clean. But look at your mop water the next time and watch that first wash. The mop bucket is dirty.
So that's what he kind
But if
of.
you didn't understand,
But if you didn't get it, that was a good way to explain it, because maybe someone doesn't understand that process to say, "I didn't realize that." Like, thank you, because that's the first time someone taught me how to maybe, and this ain't the gospel. I'm just saying that this is a way of mopping a floor, is making sure that the floor is disinfected.
doesn't mean you have to do it that way. But
It doesn't mean that you're right, but that's a way. But then it's not fair to the employee either, because if you just got shoved behind a counter and said, "Okay, here's the key, be back," and nobody told you what to do with a spill on the counter, or what to do with the thing on the floor, or, "My goodness, please don't pick up the donut after you swept with the same gloves and then counted the money with it and then closed the register drawer and go, 'Can I help you with a tissue to get a donut?'" You can't help me do a damn thing. You can't help me do nothing with your nasty gloves. But that tells me that somebody, be it their manager or be it the people who own it, didn't come in and say, this is the way that I like it. And now we know everything's disposable, everything's fast, and they don't really care anymore. Just feed these people, do this, give it to the folks. But my point of just saying that, because we did bounce around all over the place in 21 minutes, we did bounce all over the place, staying true to my life story. We're sharing the life story for your life story. And so we're hoping that something that
I
we
got a life
shared
story
with
for the
you,
next podcast.
hopefully something that we're sharing with you will help you think and turn on a light bulb a little bit and be like, wow,
Think
that's
before
kind
you write and
that
speak. Read to comprehend. And don't wake up thinking you're just going to check somebody today because you may be wrong or you may be right. But if you read to comprehend, think before you write and speak and try to stay like in your lane. And life goes smooth.
it can go smoother,
Or
makes things easier. And it breaks down confrontation. She's right. It breaks down, things of not being understood, taking it down a couple of notches, right? And then also too, bouncing off what Danielle said, it's like, and know your audience. Like there's some of this stuff is just, it's in books. We ain't making this up off the top of our heads. Like this stuff is in books, and it's taught in schools, and it's taught in business classes, and it's taught in the professional realm of things. And it really is. It really, 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 really is. I'm not making this up, right?
which
And so
means
this
you
is,
don't know it unless you really like know or study or read it. Because if you knew it, they wouldn't have made a school for it.
or they wouldn't have made books about it. And they
Yeah.
make them so that you can better yourself. And if you want to, right? And so for me personally, I would rather better myself than to be standing there looking
I'm
silly.
not on the other end of the stick talking about this dingbat.
Looking
So
silly.
you
I
should
don't. I
just want to
you
better
to better
yourself.
yourself. But
Was dingbat wrong?
but I don't know anymore what's wrong. And so I really don't know what's wrong anymore. And so, the thing is that it's always it's trying to better yourself, not for necessarily that company. But so for example, I could have never had my own business and businesses if I had not worked for companies that taught me how to be the best at their company, not realizing that they were making me a better person so that I could walk away from their company and then have an excellent company myself. So even if it's like, I don't care about that job, I want my check. But that's fine. But you're getting peanuts compared to what they make. And so to take it as an educational moment as well. Learn as much as you can from them for you. I guess that's probably the part I would say for your life story, right? Take as much as you can from either this podcast, someone else's, from books, from school. Maybe they've got the teacher. I don't know what they do no more in
And when
college.
you're not learning anything else, move on.
Yeah, when you're not learning
When you're
anything
at
else,
a job and you're like, I had a job,
you gotta
and
move
it
on.
was just like, this is getting on my nerve. These people just come
You
here to go to
gotta,
work, and then it just veers off, and then you go, well, I'm not learning anything, so it's time for me to move on because you're where you need to be, and I'm not. So
and
we're gonna
so
leave.
and then maybe people are like my dad always taught me, worker bees will always be around, and there's nothing wrong with that because there's a lot of jobs out here that we must have people stay in them, or at least we need these people to be in these jobs. There's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, if you feel like you're stunted or not growing anymore, then find out how you can grow, how you can advance, how you can, maybe you stay in that same job and grow. I have a friend who was in the uh, sanitation, like the trash collection outside. And he started as, I guess, I don't know all the ins and out, but he started as the city trash, the local, the residents, right? And he stayed there till he ranked out to downtown. And I was like, what's that mean? Well, honey, that's premium now. I mean, because now you're dealing with the businesses and you up earlier now because now overnight because you got to get. And so now he's doing big things, collecting the trash, but he ranked someplace else because he's like, hey, I'm tired of city trash. My point is,
One would say, "Oh, go to the trash man." We'd be like, "They probably get paid more
child,
than
them
you,
people get
though."
paid so much money. Y'all better stop playing. Them people get paid stupid money. And so at the end of the day, learn more. Don't get up, get dressed, go through all the motions to go someplace and have an attitude about your life. Because that's really what you're mad about. It can't be the people there because they just there trying to get their nails, hair done, get the groceries, pick up their mail. That's all we trying to do. And so you came and now you mad because you got to do that. So either you have to step your game up so that you don't have to do that. Maybe like I'll take an example. Let's say you work and you do, I don't know, admin work, and you don't want to do admin work where you are. Well, then learn and create, and then on the side do your little virtual admin work or whatever to get out your situation. But that takes a lot of other stuff too. There's you got to have some mojo for that. You got to have some heart for that. You got to
You're
have
never
some
stuck
like
anywhere.
you
You
know
just
you're not
gotta
stuck.
figure out how to get out of it. Some people be like, "What is the best I can do?" You be like, "Well, in your mind, that's the
If
best you can
that's
do,
then
but
that's
that's
what that's
not
the
really
and
what it's
that's
gonna be."
right.
But you keep mindset there, you'll be at that job forever,
That's exactly what
or
you're
you'll
gonna do.
be doing whatever you're doing forever because you're just like, "This is all I know," and you be like, "So you're gonna go learn something
And you're gonna
else?
learn
You're gonna
something
go
else
study to better what you already know to get a better
to get a better
job."
job or to get a better career or
But
to
if
do
that's what
whatever.
you like, I love it. So
And that's what it boils down to. Like I know my mother's and my cousins back. My mother and my cousins back in the day would say, "Oh, Kelly has worked everywhere in Boston. Every time you turn around, she got a new job." Back then, and I did. Oh my goodness, take my cousin to tell you. Be like, "What you say?" And quit on Thursday. Be working Monday. Now, some people will say, "Oh, but times are different. Times are always gonna be different. Times are different last week. Times are always gonna be different."
everybody's
The-
always
the-
hiring because
it's
they keep saying there's no pickings. So go throw yourself in the pickings, and you might be the best.
and yes, times are different,
Quit.
but the thing about it is I was different because I kept learning from every single job that made myself marketable to the next one
But
and
don't just quit your job.
indisposable. But I just told them, don't do that if you ain't got. I just said I made
Make
myself
sure you
indisposable. I made my
find the next
in
job
skills.
and you're
Yeah, don't try
gonna.
that. Don't try that now.
Don't just quit and be like, she told me to quit because I'm good.
I also
And
said I did that in the '90s.
I know, but now I'll quit a job and be like, well, I know I can go do the next one in the different field. But you go study, go learn while you at that miserable behind job, and then go find a new one. Just
Yeah.
don't be there too long.
And I mean, yeah, don't just quit. Don't say I told you to quit, even though I know I'd quit something in 2 seconds. My mama taught me that. She'd be like, just get up and leave. And I was like that. And she was like, yes, leave.
Somebody asked our family, do we work? And
We work. Yes, we do.
somebody's
Yes,
response
we do.
was, is we do work.
Yes, we do. Work. All of us
We
work.
all work. But we don't stay at a job and be miserable. So it may come off like, oh, they're always just home and crafting. And you go, well, I am working. I'm doing what I love and I'm making money from it. Or I'm actually at my job and I'm getting paid for what I like to do. But I'm not at a job where it's like, oh, I'm just sitting here and this is what I got to do because I got to pay the bills. So it's
Because
like, yeah, you
those
can
bills
work.
are gonna. You're right. Those bills are gonna be there. I promise you, those bills will be
You have to
there.
emphasize we work. I mean, I was getting to we work.
I know there was a part of that story I didn't want. I
Oh,
was
I
trying to
wasn't
no.
gonna go there, but yeah, we all work.
And so no, that's why I didn't. Part of that story we could have left
I don't
out.
even know what part
The
you're
part
talking about.
Matthew was that he said I didn't want
Oh,
to put
remember I
that. So
said no
anyway,
names.
well, too bad you started with him. Yeah, when your
I
child's
wasn't
father.
even starting with him.
You started with your child's father. So anyway.
I wasn't in either. So the birthday.
So my point is saying
We
this.
all
Okay,
got
so we're
jobs and
gonna close this
businesses.
up because it's been a minute, but
I got a different topic.
not in this podcast.
No.
No. So we hope something that we said, and I know we were all over the board a little bit with this, but hopefully something that we said encourages you, inspires you. I mean, maybe it just made you laugh and you think we're two nuts up here. Who knows? I don't know what people think or do anything. Well, all I can do is share my life story. So
Somebody probably can relate.
this is really my life story, right? So you can't make this up. I don't even know if you can really argue about it because it's my life. It ain't yours, mine. I'm just sharing it with you and still sharing it with you. So you could just take something from it, right? And say, oh wow, that's some good stuff. I'm gonna try that mess. Or by now maybe you want swiped. Who knows? But nonetheless, we hope that you would follow us again because clearly she got a lot to talk about. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with
She is
the Boss
Danielle.
podcast. Look at this. She is the Boss podcast, sharing my life story for your life story. Stay safe, be well, be blessed. Kelly Boss and Danielle.
Dang, I just got a blurb.
You gotta get her own tagline.